Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in probably about another 5 minutes. We're going to wait on a few other departments to get here. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Light. Oh, like a whole stage. So good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Young. I have the honor and privilege of serving you all on Philadelphia City Council. We represent the 5th Council District, which includes parts of North Philadelphia, Center City. We go over to Fishtown. And I want to welcome you all to our Quality of Life Town Hall. We have been going throughout the district, bringing this Town Hall series to every part of our district, from Hunting Park down to Rittenhouse Square, and everywhere in between. And we want to be able to provide access to the community, to the service departments that are out here serving us on a daily basis. And we have a number of departments who will be here today that will come up, talk to you about what it is that they do, and honestly answer the questions that we all have regarding the departments here in the city of Philadelphia. After that, after the departments go, then we'll have an open community Q&A session with myself and my staff who is here. And we'll be able to, give you an open and honest feedback and answers to any questions that you all may be having. And so when I look around this room, I see people from different neighborhoods throughout the district, and that has me excited. Because I want you all to know that, no matter what neighborhood that we live in the district, we all have the same issues. We all want safer communities. We all want better schools. We all want cleaner streets, right? And we are bringing together those service departments here tonight that can help us accomplish those goals, no matter what corner of the 5th district that we live in. So before we get started, I would like to bring up Brad and representatives from the Spring Garden Civic Association, who has our co-host for this evening's town hall. So without further ado, please, Brad.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Councilmember Young. My name is Brad Jamula. I'm the president of the Spring Garden Civic Association. Our organization serves the area from Spring Garden Street to Fairmount Avenue, from Broad Street to Pennsylvania Avenue. We work to better the quality of life for our residents and support the businesses and institutions along our commercial corridors. Um, Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate this. And again, we appreciate Councilmember Young holding this town hall and Haley Anderson, his office manager, and the rest of the staff for putting it together. I'd just like to say two things. The first, kind of in regard to what we might be talking about tonight in terms of community issues, is our Spring Garden Civic Association Block Captain Program. This program is specific unto the Spring Garden neighborhood. We work to provide information, real-time communication between participants, and it's just a very connected way to deal with neighborhood issues like this. So I just want to make you aware of that in case any of you live in the Spring Garden neighborhood or close to the neighborhood and would like to stay connected. The second thing that I would like to bring up is our third annual Spring Garden Sunflower Festival. This is a big community celebration that we've been holding. This will be our third year now. We celebrate local artisans, craftspeople, and small businesses. Councilmember Young is our primary sponsor, and we have WXPN as our radio partner. This year, the festival is on Saturday, September 12th, from noon to 8 p.m. on the 17 and 1800 blocks of Fairmount Avenue. Currently, we're seeking out volunteers. If any of you would like to be involved, it's a great, fun day. So please contact us to get involved. If you would like any information on our Block Captain program or on the Spring Garden Sunflower Festival, we have some materials at the table over here if you'd like to come over and talk with us about it afterwards. So again, thank you all for coming out, and thanks to Councilmember Young, and thanks to the other city representatives who are here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. And the Spring Garden Sunflower Festival is something that our office has partnered with the Spring Garden community during our first year in office, and it continues to grow every year. So if you haven't been, I encourage you to come out on Fairmount Avenue between the 17th and 19th. Please come on out. It's a great time. It's a good vibe. A family-friendly atmosphere. But it's also during the same day, I believe, that Eastern State Penitentiary holds their market as well. So it's just a lot of activity on Fairmount Avenue. So please come on out, enjoy yourself, and enjoy your community. So we're going to bring up, have a brief presentation by the Department of Licensing and Inspection. They're going to give us an overview of some of the things that are under their umbrella, and then we're going to open up, have a brief 5-minute questions from the community to LNI. And after each department, we are going to allow questions to those departments after each department gives their spiel on what they do and what they're tasked with. So without further ado, I would love if the representative from the Department of Licensing and Inspection can come up, tell us about your role at the department and what the department handles in general for the city. Be able to answer some questions. And this guy's a vet. He understands exactly what this what this role is in this crowd. So please.
Thank you. How's everyone doing tonight? All right, so I'm a little bright.
Yeah.
So I'm Inspector Tilly with License and Inspection. Just to give you a quick background on myself, I've been with the city for 12 years. Started with the streets department throwing trash. From throwing trash, I became a sweep officer, AKA the trash cop. So from there, the natural progression would be going to license and inspection. As far as license and inspection is concerned, I am with the quality of life department. Quality of the life, we have 3 subdivisions. We have property maintenance, which that's where I'm at. We have our fire inspectors, and we have business compliance. So speaking for myself, for property maintenance, we handle all the stuff inside the property. So meaning what that is, say you have a rental property, oh, my lights are flickering. Okay, so we come out, we're going to take a look just to see what could cause that. If we find a violation, we will write the violation. Our ultimate goal is compliance. So we are that neutral party between you as the tenant and the landlord. So we're kind of like the go-between. Also with myself, I also handle short-term rental. So if anyone has questions about Airbnb stuff, that would be me. I'm the guy you want to talk to for that. As far as for our fire safety, they're the ones that they go to the legal chop shops. They do a lot of your high-rise inspections, whereas our business compliance people, they're there for your businesses, and they also handle like some of your nuisance businesses as well. That's pretty much the gist of everything that we have. If it's okay, I can, if anyone has a question, I'm more than happy to answer it if I can.
Yeah, I'm Maurice Rose, 2100 block of Max Street, block captain.
Okay.
Judge of elections, committee person. We have a problem with single family dwellings being turned into rooming houses.
Okay.
And I don't think that is legal because I never saw a sticker saying that we're going to turn this house into a rooming house. One of them is 2122 Comac Street, 2112. And when I ask about the owners, I always get this answer, the owner lives in China. So I don't know how to go about, because I've called 311.
Okay.
And I've tried to I'll do that. Take pictures, because they let glass go about this high,
Gotcha.
and I just want to see if, I've already reported it 3 or 4 times, something's being done because they're saying they can't get inside the house. Is that the case?
Sometimes it can be, because how can I prove that it is a rooming house?
Right, so how can I prove it?
Well, so it depends how the inspector goes out there. So what we can do, when I step down, I can come over to the table,
Do that, I don't want to take up all your time.
but I'll take the address down and
Yeah.
we'll find out.
20,
The inspector.
22 and 2112.
We'll write it down and we'll get someone over there for you.
You license and inspection, right?
Yes, I do. And that is what we do in my department. So we also handle rooming houses.
And I want to do a quick follow-up to the rooming house question. So in our code currently allows 3 unrelated people to live in a unit. So when you add that 4th unrelated person, then that's what triggers the rooming house code. But if there are 3 unrelated people or lower, that's legal under our code. But once that 4th person comes that is unrelated, then we can get the L&I inspector.
Anybody?
Hi, my name is Amanda.
Representative.
Hi, my name is Amanda Suskin, Spring Garden. L&I enforces or at least meets the compliance or helps residents meet the compliance for vacant properties, especially the vacant property licenses on behalf of residential and commercial properties. And in the area, there is dotted around, depending on which neighborhood, vacant property commercial and vacant property residential. I want to know, and you can sort of speak to me, how you make sure that the compliance in terms of residential property licenses are maintained, so you know the inventory, such that the compliance in terms of the property owner's responsibility toward their vacant properties is maintained. For example, during the winter time, it is very unlikely, mostly unlikely, that any owner of a vacant property actually clears their sidewalks, which they are responsible for. That's incredibly dangerous on the various sidewalks. That's a vacant property license issue. And then also, most neighborhoods don't want long-term vacant properties. We want them turned over into productive uses. That might not specifically be L&I, but it's partially M&I in terms of those buildings, not necessarily being maintained at code. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
So as far as for vacant property goes, if they do have their license, yes, they are to maintain it. Now, I mean, I can't physically go to that owner and say, hey, come out here, shovel your wall. We do enforce with site violation notices. So we use that in hopes of getting them to actually do what they're supposed to do. So if it states that you have to maintain your property, we're hoping you come out there and you shovel your walk, you mow your lawn, and you pick up your trash, because that's part of owning your property. But as far as we can go, it's pretty much just the site violation notice.
And I would ask that if you see these issues, please reach out to our office so we can put those requests and complaints in through L&I to make sure that the inspectors are going out to site the properties. We get a quicker response in 311. So please give us a call when you see these types of issues that are happening.
And we also do have a vacant property unit that is their sole responsibility. These inspectors go out specifically for the vacant properties.
So how many violations do you send out and they do nothing? They I mean, it's like sending a person a ticket and they throw it in the trash, and you send them a ticket and they throw it in the trash. Nothing happens.
So-
You send them a violation after violation after ticket, but nothing's done to correct the problem.
It depends on what we write. You have a site violation notice, which that is a fine, which it's just like going through a red light, you get caught, you get the red light ticket. It goes to a point, we can only issue them once a month. Now, if I have a notice of violation, so when I go to a property, if it's multiple things, not one thing. So if I see high weeds, I see trash, I see a broken window, if you will, they get a notice of violation. What happens with the notice of violation? They do get time to comply, then it proceeds to court. That's when we ask, or we send it to court and we say, hey, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. We send it to court and then we wait for the courts. That's their job. That's what they have to do. They have to bring the owner in. They have to tell them, hey, listen, you're letting your property go into disrepair. You need to come out here and fix it. That's as far as that we can go.
Hi,
This might not be your department. I mean, you specifically based on what you told us, but perhaps you could direct us.
Sure.
We live in a newly built condo unit, 16 units, 12 years old,
Okay.
that we had to spend $10,000 to get a structural engineer to just come out and determine all of the issues. And we are now facing a $1 million complete new envelope. And when I pulled the OC on the website, there were multiple violation notices from L&I. Now, obviously, I don't know what the builder ever did about that. But my question to you is there anywhere we can go for this? I mean, there's 16 of us, $1 million. There's like not a lot of us that can just pull that out of the bank. We have the multiple leaks, plumbing issues, everything.
So they're condominiums, so they're owner occupied. So it's supposed to be the owner, it's their responsibility to take care of it. Now, if it would be something in like a common area, that would be,
it's the roof.
so that falls under the HOA. The HOA has to take care of it. So whatever money that you guys would have pulled together.
Even though the building's only 10 years old, newly built, and is completely falling down around all of us.
So for that, I would say you're most likely, you're gonna have to probably have a civil dispute against the architect or the actual builders of the property.
We tried that, they said that we can't, but.
What I can do, I can ask some of our building people
That would be awesome.
and just come over to the table, and this way I can take a name and number down, at least a point of contact. And then this way I could try to get you the right, the best direction to go towards.
We would be so appreciative.
Not a problem.
One quick question.
Now we have.
So L&I does the inspections, but is not responsible for any enforcement whatsoever. Is that correct?
No, so when we write the notice of violation, we're taking it to the court and we're putting that in front of the judge. That's where the enforcement comes in. So if we have a notice of violation, will say, hey, it's $300, but it'll be $300 per day. So that's how we try to get the compliance that we want. So if it took them, if we take a baseball, 3 strikes, you're out, right? So they got their 3 strikes, they're out. Now that goes to court. When the solicitor picks that up, they're going to say, hey, what violations do we have? Oh, we have all these violations. Oh, this violation is $300 per day. So that's where they're going to start with the fines, which when they get brought into court, that's where they're going to start with. This is what we
So
want.
then the law department then negotiates with the.
Yes, to gain the compliance.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I live in Spring Garden. This is more of a question for the council member, but it's related to the conversations about the violations. As he has said, the violations get passed on to the courts. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of dollars in L&I fines and fees that have not been paid by one single broker that owns vacant properties in our ward. What can you do as a council member to fix this bottleneck so that L&I is not constantly having to go out to these properties and do the yard maintenance and, you know, deal with the issues that the neighbors of those properties are dealing with.
I think if you can provide me with that information, we can talk to our law department to make sure that they go out and file the, you know, what the gentleman was talking about, in court, file the lawsuits that are necessary to get the compliance. That's what our office, we've been in constant contact with the city solicitor's office regarding a number of issues like this. And we can, you know, kind of nudge them to make sure they go ahead and file the appropriate suits when necessary.
Okay, to follow up on that, I really think the fines are too cheap. If we make it higher and higher and higher, and they may comply with it, and because the next step is put liens on the property. And if you don't enforce it, but I think it's too low. It should be no lower than $5,000 per violation.
And I think that, I mean, I would agree. We have to base, the city has to base the violations, the fines off of either the state allowing us to fine that much or the cost of actually writing the fine, right? So that's something that, you know, we can take back to our law department, and work with our state partners to see how we can increase certain fines. Like we were able to increase fines for like short dumping, for example, because the state allowed us to do that. And so other fines like this is something that I would love to work with our state partners to ensure that these type of fines can get increased as well.
That is something that we have kicked around, especially when it comes to short-term rentals for the SVN amount. So I definitely agree with you.
Hi, Jeremy Gladstein, resident of the neighborhood. A couple things with the L&I, right? One, when it comes to supporting small businesses, right? L&I isn't necessarily the easiest to work with. And realistically, we want small businesses to succeed in our neighborhoods. That being said, right, there's this is where the crossover goes. There are nuisance small businesses in our neighborhood. So it's figuring out how we work with these small businesses to not make it a hindrance for them to open up while still making sure we enforce the rules, right? And with that being said, the rules are sometimes hard to follow. And when we're talking about some of these violations, the idea that L&I has limited powers or the neighbors don't know who to reach out to. It's not a good answer, sorry, to say, reach out to my office. Every neighbor should be able to figure out the system of reaching out to 311 or reaching out to L&I directly to get an answer, right? It shouldn't take having to reach out to Councilman Young's office. So like overall, as a department, figuring out how to communicate with the community and the businesses to better kind of support them is something that is really lacking from your department. And the thing that really hurts is that then you guys point fingers at other people, right? You guys don't communicate with the health department. You don't communicate with streets. So it's really the interdepartmental communication that really needs to be worked on. And I'd really just like to hear kind of from your guys' standpoint, what's being done to really support these small businesses in the community. Thank you.
So what I see, because I am not on the business compliance side, but they call them like corridor sweeps is what they do. So what they do is people from L&I, like I know, for instance, I've watched them do certain spots on Girard Ave. So they go up, they talk to the owners of the property, they hand them, you know, some paperwork, hey, you know, I'm a licensed inspection, they get business cards, so this way they can actually reach out to the inspector for that area. And they try to help them get within the compliance. So they're actually checking the property. From there, if it becomes a nuisance property or like a nuisance business, we do have an NPU unit that actually works in tandem with the police department. Now, the hard thing on that is its behavior, and it's trying to curb specific behaviors, which we all know that's kind of the hardest things to do. So they are developing on the L&I side, better ways that they can go to the businesses that are the nuisance businesses to let them know, like, hey, if you don't stop this, we're going to shut your business down and this is what we have to do because we have to give you a chance to remediate it. So they give them that option of, well, hey, listen, maybe you just hypothetically, maybe you shouldn't have kids, under 25 in after midnight, because maybe there's certain behaviors that are going on that they're trying to curb. But like, once again, I can't really speak off of the business side because I don't do the actual business. Now, as far as reaching out to the office, which I know it can be hard. I'm over in this district. I have no problem. I can give the number to the actual district, but there is certain areas where it does make it hard interacting with, say, streets department or other departments like the health department. So when we go out, I do know this, like we do an inspection triggered from the health department. Once the health department gives them the okay, they get it, that business gets a paper and then they can get their license for something. So, and myself, when I go to things outside of work, I'm always looking for someone from the health department to collect business cards. So for myself, anywhere I go, I can try to do the name game. And so this way we can connect the dots to, well, obviously make my job easier. So this way we can, once again, go back to trying to get the compliance that we need. I hope that helps a little bit.
But is 301 in general sense, like for the nuisance property, is 311 the best way to do that? Like, is that what you guys are, is that what like? You
So
tell the public?
we go off of 311. We have to, because Ellen and I, quintessentially, we are complaint driven. Now, some of the issue would be, how is it put into 311? And trust me, I wish I knew that. I wish I knew the answer for that because I've been dealing with 311 for many years and I try to sit down and try to help people like, hey, if you're putting in the complaint, this is how you should put it in, or even using the app so you can at least get a picture so we can see a picture so we know, hey, oh, well, this is exactly what they're talking about. Yeah, that ball right there. Yep, that's the one that I'm going to. And it's not like, oh, but yeah, we went out and it was investigated on, found it and closed out the complaint. I'd rather just try to get it done, get it answered, so this way it doesn't keep coming back. Sir.
Thank you. And so that's why we asked folks to call our office as well. Because we can help with the complaint in a form that 301 is going to recognize and going to be able to ensure that the issue is documented correctly. But with that, next we are going to have a presentation by the Philadelphia Police Department. As we all know, the police department in this area has merged the districts into the new 9th district. There are some issues, concerns, some praises that this 9th district has in our community. So without further ado, I want to bring up Sergeant Melendez to provide us with a presentation and followed by a brief Q&A.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for being here. I'm Sergeant Melendez. This is Officer Harrigan and Officer Gary. We're just here to pretty much listen to you guys, hear your concerns, questions, issues, so we can address it as much as we can. Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Karen Weeks and I'm the president of the Cary Turner Nearby Homeowners Association. Why is it when there's an accident, we can call 911? But the police, they won't come out. They say in order to get a report, we have to call back to 911 to have somebody come out to actually follow the accident.
Okay, so, and we are not that we're not supposed to, all right, the way that the radio calls come out is auto accidents are in the lower priority, especially when there's no injuries, no report of injuries or no report of towing needed. We don't have to come out to those. Those can be done directly at the district. So, which is low in the bottom, which is why we take a long time to answer those.
Okay. So in my case, right off between 13th and Parish and Popular, it's been accidents, where the cars are totaled. They never come out. And we didn't know that you had to call the police back out to file the complaint in order for the city, for when we called, New 311 or whoever, and say that we had multiple accidents in this one spot. They say they don't have anything on record because we didn't call back to the police and have them come out.
So I am not aware of that, because the way it works is when you call 911, it goes into our, what we call our board. And it's divided by priorities. So an auto accident normally is a priority 4. And then what happens is by the time, most of the time, and due to the district being so big now, and our manpower, sometimes it's harder to get to that prior to like 2 to 3 hours. But I'm not sure about you calling back in order for them to come out. I never practically heard that. I know about if you still show up, like when you call 911, it still goes on our board regardless. Just by the time we show up, there's no one there. That's normally the way it works. And then unless you have a callback number, then we'll try to call you back and and ask you where you at.
Right.
So if you leave your callback number, we're able to give you a call, right away. When we could take the report, either over the phone with you, or we could go over to your property, your residence, and take it there.
One more question. So the amount of accidents that occur within that strip, does it determine whether or not, because we try to get, what do you call it, speed cushion? And they say we couldn't get speed cushion because there's nothing on file about the accidents. So is it, in order to get the speed cushions from Brown Street to Girard Avenue on 13th Street, is the amount of accidents determined whether or not you can get them?
It does, but it also is in conjunction with the street department. That doesn't fall on us.
And the streets department is here, so we can ask that question.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the street department, because we just have the records, the reports. Yes, sir.
No, come in here now.
Okay, I have a question. I'm on live, so I'm not gonna give out the address while I'm on live.
Not a problem.
This is senior building that I live in, and, we got the drug dealers in there serving the seniors. The managers are aware of it, but it's nothing that's being done.
You said they are aware of it or they're not?
They are aware of it.
They are aware.
You know, they tell us to write up a complaint, stick it in the mailbox will be dropped out, rent money. And
Okay.
so they won't know who's, you know, writing the paper up. So what can be done to get these young drug dealers out the building?
So now let me ask you, are they selling from inside the property or are they coming out? Is it like in front on the side?
Serve the seniors that's on drugs and.
In there.
And there.
So we have I'm sorry, the lights are like really bright. So we do have a unit, it's our narcotic fuel unit. They handle the narcotics from inside residents. So what your property manager should do is, since he's collecting all those complaints, he should go to the police station and then file a report. He doesn't collect the complaint.
I've been in there since January
You've been where?
and living in a building since January. But somebody related to me, I'm not gonna put it up, like I said, because I'm on live. too,
Okay.
Right? And they've been in there since 2018, so this been going on for 2018.
Wow.
Well, is management doing anything about it?
Not that I know of.
Because, I mean, if you're putting the complaints in with the rent envelope, then property management should be the one making being the complainant.
That too.
What if manager is part of it?
Yeah.
At that point, so,
Rid of 2 people, but the third person left on their own, because he was on drugs, but he's talking about he's scared for his life, so he got out of there.
okay,
But they still come to meetings, the young tenderonis, they coming in there, and they selling their drugs to people that still on drugs.
okay. So, like I said, so because it's inside and we can't do surveillance, just because we have one complainant, it would have to be multiple complaints into that property. Now, if you believe the management is part of it, then
Not part of, they young, their managers, they young, you know, but a lot of these young folks, they just there just to have a body there, not doing their job.
right, I got it. But you are more than welcome to go up to the 9th district and file the complaint for narcotics inside. What we do with that complaint, we actually send it to our narcotic field units. And once they get enough, they start doing their own surveillance and their own investigation. But that's completely off our patrol area. We send that out to another unit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right here.
Is the ninth district still hosting the monthly PSA meetings? And if yes, how do we get that information and know how to get?
So there has been a lot of changes lately. We just finished FIFA, so that was a big help hurdle for everyone. We do have our PSA meeting coming up this August. If you want to reach out to me, I'll send them over to you. I know we have them online, but sometimes they're not updated correctly. So we do have an Instagram page that I personally manage. So if you have Instagram, or Facebook, you're more than welcome to follow us. I try to post as much as I can on that, and that will keep you the most updated information when it comes to the PSA meeting. But yes, we stopped back in May because of FIFA, and we just picking it up back this month.
What do we follow? What's your
It's PPD dot ninth district,
PPV?
PPD dot ninth district.
I have one more question.
But we're gonna, let's go around.
How are you?
How you doing, sir?
I want to talk about drugs seems to be the theme. We have a escalating problem in our community, and we've been coming to the ninth district. We've been going to the agencies that are supposed to be in control of the housing, where a lot of this activity is initiated. But we haven't been getting a lot of results, and now we talk about over 2 years. We've been going. We went to PHA police. We went to the PHA administrative offices. We've come to the ninth district on several occasions. And this is myself as well as my block captain who's here with me today.
6 times.
And we've reported weapons in certain houses. We've reported drug activity. And just this weekend, it's just evolved. And we're talking about physical violence and gunfire. We had people running up the streets trying to get in their homes, trying to duck gunfire. I mean, I've been in the neighborhood 20 years. I've been involved in a renaissance for Francisville. I'm an investor around the city. And it's horrible to be stonewalled when we go to agencies and public services and we don't get a direct response. We get brushed off. And we gotta go through, just like somebody was talking about the interdepartmental communication in the city, it's pathetic. How can we talk, we've gotten responses to the effect somebody has to die before somebody can do something. And I'm beginning to think that's the elephant in the room. That's really, it's the sentiment. And it's gotta be something done. People paying major tax money, but you're trying to get businesses, families here. This is the publicity. I'm a lifelong resident. Central High School, Temple University, registered nurse, 30 years. I'm like, I can't believe this is my city. It's like, what is there to talk about? Where's the pride? It's totally indifferent.
Well, I want to start off by saying I'm sorry. Do you want to speak on which neighborhood we're talking about or what area? I can't hear. Francisville, okay.
Okay, the ninth district, we're talking about Francisville, and as a matter of fact, on my way down here, after the fracas over the weekend, of course, things died down, but they're like, insects, when the lights come back on or when they go off, they come back out. And I saw them congregating again. I mean, they're literally holding the neighborhood hostage.
I completely understand. So there's a huge misunderstanding when it comes to narcotics. Unfortunately, it's a very, very slow process because it has to do with a lot of investigation and a lot of surveillance. But I can attest myself that there has been surveillance, there has been arrest, and we have been clearing a lot of things in Francisville. So I know it's not as fast paced as you're doing it, let me lock you up. Narcotic takes months, if anything, to clear a job because we have to make sure that the case is tight enough in order to take it to court and actually get a warrant for this person. So it's not as fast and as easy as any other crime. That's one of the most like frustrating, unfortunately, type of crimes that we have.
About saying this, we talk about public safety, we talk about hail of bullets, we talk about physical violence, we're talking about a hail of bullets. You mean to tell me that doesn't add a sense of urgency to this?
Of course it does. If there's any shootings, we do an entire shooting package. If there's any type of shooting that happened anywhere in the city, the next morning we're conducting a shooting package. Most of the time, especially in the 9th district, which I love. I came from the 22nd when I was a cop. So the 9th district has so many cameras that about 90% of the time, we know exactly who's shooting and we know we make an arrest and we're in a week.
Can I say something?
We're coming
here. This was in reference to the videos have been turned. Most of the neighbors have cameras. Videos are clear as day.
Okay.
Individuals are clear as day. And right outside your door. You know, this is insane, you know. And we don't know, we're at our wits' end because we are trying to survive. We have teachers, there's a teacher over here who gets up 5:30 in the morning, has to be out the door. She's carrying us to come. We work at the school, so this is not comfortable. And then when we get messages, when we talk, it's going in the 9th district. We addressed it. I've been in here 6 times, and I went and we had one officer, Officer O'Shea, promised us that we would see some changes. But we told me to notify them every week. I was called every week. Then he just stopped. He stopped communicating with us, and if you're the liaison, you should be communicating. He stopped communicating with us. He would answer calls, everything. Then when I called down here to speak to someone else, we get the runarounds. It's like pass the buck, pass the buck. It's not my job. I'm not worried about it. Then one of my neighbors who had literally right in front of his door, he was blown off by Officer Birch from the 27th. Oh, they're dangerous. Don't worry about them. Oh, you should be careful. Oh, I handle all the shootings. I handle this. But honestly, I don't think he even filed a report. The way that he talked to that man is just insane. And if people are just ready to pack up, we have a whole building of apartments where the lady is in there and they camp out on her steps. And I had a community person tell me, oh, well, you don't own the pavement. They can stand on the pavement where they're paying their tax in their house. Now you have to pay some type of insurance. So you have some land. So don't tell me you step out your door, you're telling somebody to get off my steps and they're peddling and they're telling you, oh, you're being racist. That's a bunch of crap. It's wrong. And we were never tormented like this. And I've been here since 1968. So I went to all the schools, temple, everything. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
So I'm sorry you're going through it, but once we finish with this Q&A, you're more than welcome to step to my table and we'll communicate and we'll get the specific address and I'm able to help you out, okay?
Go in here.
Go ahead. Okay. I was just going to acknowledge, it's not a question and it's not even necessarily for you. I think it's for the councilman and just anyone who works in city government. It really feels like I want to acknowledge that the system just seems broken. If there's important meetings happening with the police department and we have to find out their Instagram, that just feels insane to me. And I'm grateful that you're managing that account so that you can, but like people should be able to know where to find information. It should be in one space. It should be organized. People should be able to feel like they can reach out to their liaisons and be communicated with. It just feels like the communication problem is really key here. And I don't know whose job that is, but I feel like if you can solve that, then your life gets easier, their life gets easier, then the system is just smoother. So that's just all I wanted to say is that just needs to be a priority.
Please email the RCOs. Email us.
Okay. It's two. With the PSA, when Bradley was here, um, I always got a email about when is the next PSA meeting. And I haven't had an email in maybe about a year now. And hopefully, I'm not technical, and there's a lot of people that aren't technical. As you say, go on the website to see what's going on. She notified us what was when the meeting is supposed to be. And matter of fact, she took a suggestion that I gave a long time ago, to be mobile, within the areas, not just concentrating in that one area. Now, since you merged, which I think it appears now I'm hearing the problems other neighbors are having, it maybe wasn't a good idea when we were the sixth district. And, so hopefully I'll get an email, saying when the next meeting will be. And, my following question is this. I don't see police officers patrolling. I haven't seen a police car in my area. Now, it's true, we don't have a lot of issues, but when I used to know 2312. I don't see it. It could be when you did that merger, that your area is too big. It's too much. But I haven't seen a police car. I understand what you were saying about cameras. But you still need to know who is a local police officer. We used to know their name. But I don't see, I'm not talking about patrolling. I would love to go back to streets when Mayor Street was in, and we had what you call safe streets.
Mhm.
And a police officer was on the corner, walking around, talking. And we did feel 100% safer then. But I understand about the budget and all that. But my question is, how often do police cars patrol? I haven't seen one.
So to answer your first question, Captain Bradley now, she was great,
Yes.
especially at communication.
Yes.
I used to do PSA with her when she was my lieutenant. Um, Unfortunately, once they leave, they take all that information with them, including the emails. So when you have someone new step in the PSA, you're pretty much starting from scratch.
They don't care.
Um, Other than that, that's why I try to make the PSAs on social media, because normally everyone is on social media nowadays.
Except the elders.
And I completely understand. I completely understand. So if you have any suggestions, you want to leave your email, I more than happy to take it, and I will go ahead and I will personally send you an email when we have the PSA, because I do have my own list as well that I send out, events and PSA meetings and town hall meetings as well. And to answer your second question, what neighborhood are we talking about?
Well, I live at 11th and Mount Vernon.
West Poplar, yes. So 11 in Mount Vernon, we actually have more cops right now in that neighborhood than we had like 2 months ago. We have, how many footbeats we have in here? 24. 24.
Okay.
24 footbeats.
So there should be 24 cars.
No. I wish. I wish to make my job easier.
I don't see any cars.
So unfortunately, the city doesn't have the budget for 24 cars. But we do have them. They just are extremely deployed to the places where they need it mostly, the corners that they're needed mostly. But we do have, thankfully, we do have a little bit more officers this year, even this year than we had last year. I promise you. We just went down to 24. We had 36. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, so I don't want to necessarily repeat everything she said, but what that woman was just speaking about is something that we deal with on the 2900 block of Pennsylvania a lot. So the question I was going to ask is there a schedule of routine patrolling? Because everybody on our block would tell you that we never see folks anymore. And so the 2900 block, if you know it, it's one way, it's the last block on the, on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's real quiet.
Mhm.
It's a great place to break windows. It's a great place to sleep in your car at night. It's a great place to take your girlfriend if your wife is at home. All of that happens on our block,
Yeah.
and we never, we never see anybody. So my question is really, is the police department fully staffed? Is there a schedule for routine patrolling? How often should we expect to see somebody?
Okay, so let's start with the police department is not fully staffed. And we haven't been fully staffed in a very long time. So when it comes to routine patrol is tied to radio calls. Now, because, and I don't like to blame and mergers and this, but let's be honest, let's paint the big picture here. We're taking triple of the calls with half the manpower. So what we call our board or our board of radio calls, we're stacking 20 to 30 calls at all times. With that being said, it doesn't give us the chance to actually routine patrol because we're going from call to call to call. So unfortunately, there's not two separate things. It's just the same officer that's answering radio call. That's the same officer that's supposed to patrol once he's done, but we're never done answering radio calls.
Okay.
That's our problem.
So it's just, the police department's just responding to calls, not just.
Correct. Now, if we come up across something, it's while we're going to a call most of the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have one more question in the back.
So you brought up the whole cameras thing, and cameras obviously. Cameras are the hot topic of the day right now, and I wanted to be clear, right, how crucial cameras are to the Philadelphia Police Department.
Mhm.
And I would like to make it clear that, and I have a question for the councilman, if he supports the funding and supports these cameras so that the police can continue to do their jobs.
So I do think that there is moments where our civil liberties can be, kind of infringed upon, right? With the intrusion of so many cameras. We do know that cameras are a public safety tool. They have been helping in some aspects of our city. We use cameras to catch illegal dumpers. We use cameras to catch criminals. But there comes a point where the over surveillance is an infringement on our civil liberties, and we have to make sure that as a city we have that balance. We have that balance that protects us from government overreach, but we also need to give the government the ability to serve us in a safety manner as well. And I have my own question for the 9th district. This is one last question. Being that City Hall is included in the 9th district as well, sometimes my office faces Dilworth Plaza, facing 15th Street. And oftentimes I see 10 patrol cars and 25 bicycle cops just at City Hall itself. There are times where we get calls from folks in the communities in parts of Fairmount and Francisville, in West Poplar, where those types of patrols, those type of bicycle cops, things like that could be helpful for that community as well. We're not always asking for cops to be in cars or in a foot beat, but a bicycle patrol through the community will also be helpful as a deterrent to some of the stuff that happens. So is it possible to increase that level of the bicycle patrols, not just around the City Hall area, but in other parts of the 9th district as well?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. Now, this is where it's a little bit different. So the 25 bikes and all the patrol cars you see in front of Dilworth Plaza and in City Hall, they're actually from different districts, and it's called an emergency response team. The reason we have an emergency response team on location there every day is due to the disruptive of the teens when they are going into the stores and ransacking and stealing and assaulting people in the area. So those officers are not assigned to the 9th district. They're not our officers. They're officers all over the city. They take their manpower from across the city to come into City Hall every day to deter from juveniles causing chaos in the center city.
Thank you. Let's give the sergeant the round of applause. Thank you. Give me the. So I think next department we have.
The city.
The next department we have will be the streets department. The streets department deals with, well, I'll let the streets department gentlemen tell you what we deal with. Just so folks are clear, I am the chair of City Council and Streets and Services Committee, where we kind of have the jurisdiction of things related to the streets department, related to sanitation, and related to some other issues. And so I deal with the streets department often on almost daily on some of the issues that we face in our city. I can tell you that our streets department has been responsive, be it slow at times, but they have been responsive. But we're going to let the representative from the street department come up and talk to you all about some of the things that's under his jurisdiction and some things the street department can do.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. I work in the traffic unit at the Philadelphia Streets Department. So my day job is working on traffic issues. We're a pretty diverse department. We have a lot of different responsibilities. Most zoomed out, big picture, our central role is taking care of the 2,500 miles of public streets in our city. A big part of that is just maintenance. It includes the literal condition of the pavement, obviously fixing potholes, something I'm sure everyone has experienced, including, repaving of our streets, once the entire asphalt surface reaches the end of its service life, the entire street needs to get repaved. So we do, a varying amount of that each year, depending on, where we're working and how much we have capacity to do. On top of that, the other maintenance activities that we're responsible for are taking care of all of our traffic devices on our public streets. So that includes the markings on the roadway, all of our traffic signs, and all of our traffic signals. We also have 350 bridges that the city owns and is responsible for doing regular inspections and maintenance of. Also install and maintain all of the streetlights in the city that keep our city lit up at night. So that's just maintenance. There's a huge effort just in keeping all that stuff in a reasonable condition and working. On top of that, what I do in my day-to-day job is working on traffic design and planning. So, we're a very old city. All of our streets were laid out before anyone even thought about what a car was, and our streets were effectively, meant for, public space and walking and horses and buggies. And, the last century have been retrofit to basically, carry motor traffic all over the city. So there's a lot of time that we spend on planning and figuring out like where we can make improvements because, there's been growing pains as the city has gone through that type of transition. So there's always a big balance in, designing for efficiency because we want people to be able to get around, but we also want to design for safety so that people are safe doing that. And we want to be able to make sure that we're accommodating all of the users. So there's people who want to drive, there's people who might want to bike, people who are going to walk, and people who are going to use transit. So we want to make sure we're able to serve and balance all of their needs to the best that we can. So that's kind of like another big role that the streets department has is allocating the use of the space in our public streets. So, depending on which part of the city you're in, the public right of way is, either from, the property line to the property line. So up here in this neighborhood, a lot of that is you have your building coming right up to the property line and you have the sidewalk and then the roadway. So, we do a lot of our planning and design is figuring out how to divide up that space. So, obviously we have a firm distinction between our sidewalks and our roadway. We know it's pedestrians and then it's for traveling, but the roadway still needs to get split up between where we're going to have driving lanes, where we're going to have bike lanes, where we're going to allow parking, where we're going to allow things like, public accommodations like bike racks or streeters and things like that. So there's all this different balancing that we need to do with our public streets. And sometimes the demands of what the streets need to be used for exceeds the amount of space that's actually available to them. So things can get cramped, of course, in the city. And then aside from that, I think it's pretty much everything I wanted to look at. You know, we also do the snow removal in the winter. One last off, we also manage our schools crossing guard program, so the streets department employs and manages the public safety officers that, you know, manage traffic around our schools during school days. But the real reason we're here is to do the Q and A. I'm sure everybody has interacted with the street at some point. They're like, everyone lives on their road and everyone deals with traffic, so. I guess I'll start from this side, gentlemen, if you're from here.
First of all, I want to say thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for paving all around me. However, in one street, it's like driving on the moon.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but I don't remember that street ever being paved, Norris Street between Seventh and Broad. Actually Fifth and Broad. You paved all the way up to Fifth and then you stopped at Fifth and you didn't go up to Broad. So I'm tired of going to the tire shop.
You said Norris Street up by Dolphin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Between Norris Street, yes, between Burks and Diamond.
Okay.
Everything else you take care of. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but Norris Street, we really would appreciate, because I actually, when I ran for a committee person, I put that in my little flyer, that I was gonna get Norris Street done, so.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you wanna see me out on the table on the right side of the room, I can take down your info. I can check for you if that's on the 5-year paving plan. If it's not, I'll make sure our paving manager is aware
Okay, all right.
that you requested it.
I just want to know.
Sorry.
Okay, with the future closure of the Market Street Bridge. You have a plan in place to adjust the timing of the traffic lights of the surrounding streets and the chaos it's going to create, particularly at 20th and JFK.
Yes, we have been working for a long time on what that detour plan is going to look like. It is going to be very congested. The Market Street Bridge carries a lot of traffic. But yeah, we are working on being as prepared as we can to mitigate the changes that's gonna come from that.
Hi, my question is I have several questions, but I'm gonna take some over there at the table. So the traffic lights that are on 11th and 12th and Popular, and what's the other one, Charles? On down Popular Street, they've been out for like 2 months.
We're in
There you
12.
go. What are they supposed to be fixed?
Those signals were shut off and we put up stop signs for those.
That's no good. That's
So those are, so on isolated neighborhood streets where we have traffic signals, that is aging equipment that is probably 60 or 70 years old. And on a lot of these smaller neighborhood intersections where signals have been installed in the past, they do not meet the warrant for the use of a traffic signal based on the guidelines we're using today. So a lot of these neighborhood signals are planned to be replaced with stop signs. Number one, because that is in line with the current guidelines for how we're managing our public streets. And number two, because that saves the city the need to invest in new signal equipment at those intersections over, you know, the coming years as the equipment that's out there is going to age out. And long-term, reducing the number of signals in the city and only putting them in where they're needed is beneficial because we do have limited maintenance technicians to take care of all the equipment that we do have now. So reducing that number allows us to be more responsive to the rest of our city's signal infrastructure.
Okay, one more
I have a question related to that, if you don't mind, really quick. So I get honked at when I stop at a stop sign, right? So like how, like, and if we're replacing our traffic signals with stop signs, how will that, I guess, create a safer environment for motor vehicles and pedestrians?
Yes, I understand. I understand that. In terms of the safety trade-off between a signal and a stop sign at a smaller neighborhood street, we don't have any definitive data as to one way or the other. It is really context dependent, but if you consider a traffic signal, you have a green light and traffic is coming through that intersection at speed versus the stop sign, people do not stop all the way. They are at least slowing down. So at an all-way stop, you may not have lower risk of a traffic crash, but the crashes that do happen are more likely to be less severe because traffic is moving slowly.
So what can I,
Besides, excuse me, besides these streets that need to be paved, who's gonna pay for my car with that, bumpers in the street? Is y'all gonna pay for my car? Cause this says the wheel alignments up in people's cars.
You're referring to the speed cushions that are on the street?
Yes, it's a serious, what you call them up in your car.
It's not going.
One little kid.
Too big.
The speed cushions are designed to be ridden over
Slowly.
at the speed limit. 20 25-mile-per-hour speed limit on neighborhood streets. They're designed to be comfortably ridden at 20 miles per hour, and they have a vertical clearance of 4 inches, which is any stock vehicle is able to clear that with its undercarriage. Some of them end up higher or lower. They are made out of concrete at the end of the day. They are not sculpted or molded, so there is some inconsistency depending on, I don't know, weather conditions, who built it, whatever. So some of them have come out too high or wonky shaped and had to be redone. If you do have some that you think are too high, we're happy to take a look at it. But in general, the ones that are designed to standards. Which one?
It's some type of construction or whatever on 17th Street, right on, what is that, right? I think it's in between Mount Vernon and Green, or or Mount Vernon and Wallace. It's a big old hump in the street that you go over it, it rubs the bottom of your car.
Yeah, it might be a speed table.
It's not, it's some type of, somebody did something.
It's a construction hole. It could be a construction hole, so that's something that we can.
Several months.
If it's damage in the street, like a trench, the street was damaged and not repaired correctly, then that's a pavement issue and that can get repaired.
Right.
So I mean, if you want to, okay, yeah, if you have an exact address or something, that'd be great, or a picture is even better too.
Next questions back.
Yeah, we're gonna go in the back then.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry. My question is specifically about, how they have intersections that have like the end of the intersection, you'll have an X. So people are not supposed to park there, but
Do you mean in the parking lane near the intersection?
Exactly. So, I live in Francisville where there are really a lot of odd intersections. We can all agree with that.
Okay.
That X is just go ahead and park here. So, it's a problem, especially on the corner of where I live at 17th and Cambridge, because, if someone's parked there, specifically if an SUV is parked there, you cannot see around there. There have been multiple accidents on that corner. So I've seen in other neighborhoods where they have like these, I don't know, plastic poles, I guess you would call it, on that X instead of the X, I'm sorry, they have the plastic poles there. Would it be possible, is that coming to this neighborhood? Because they could really, I'm sorry, I know you want to answer, but they could really use that at that corner and also the corner of 18th and Cambridge, where there's a really, really bad nuisance coffee, we call it Chinese spot, for lack of a better term, where you cannot make that turn. There's literally always someone double parked there, whether they're delivering takeout or getting food there or whatever. It's impossible to make that turn. I think that some type of deterrent for people to park there would be fantastic. Once again, I've seen those in the different neighborhoods. So are they coming to us?
Yeah, like the issue you described is very common in the city. There are very many intersections where only one of the approaches needs to stop, and then there's traffic on the other street as right of way. And so when you're coming up to those intersections, if there is on-street parking and someone is parked too closely, it's difficult to see around that car. So what you described in terms of putting an X on the street and people are still parking, that's a common issue. They're parked illegally, but whether they're leaving their car there overnight or they're just stopped to run into a store real quick, like they're still creating a safety issue by doing that. So, the first thing we can do is put up a no stopping sign to match the box on the corner just to keep that clear. And then those vehicles can at least be ticketed right away. And issues where there's a more common history, then yes, we can put up, plastic posts to create, some kind of physical, something in the street to keep cars from parking on there. Those are kind of done case by case. We take those by request. It's not something that we have a program to go and do them at every single intersection. But you can always ask us for it. And if we have the means and capacity to do it at the time, then we'll try to get that scheduled.
So we were taking notes, so we're gonna put that request in.
16th and Ogden also needs it. There's probably a lot of others, but I'm gonna call that one out. I hear screeching every day.
Yeah.
So, like you acknowledge yourself, given how old so many of the city streets are with their infrastructure, right? Cars have gotten bigger over the decades, which means we have a lot of streets which are two ways, which really should be one ways at this point. Now, I know the city has been gradually in different neighborhoods restructuring that. I know it's not easy because you got to reformat the flow of traffic in that whole like area. But then just tell us, I guess, a little bit, what does the process look like to have a street recategorized from a two-way to a one-way? And how long does that take? Because I can tell you a number of times, I barely had someone taking that corner tight, you know?
It's gonna depend on what kind of street you live on. If this is a small neighborhood street, usually we can, like, we'll almost always suggest making those a one-way if there's not room for two cars to pass. Obviously, if you ask us to consider making like, West Market a two-way street, like, that's a way different question. But like if it's on a neighborhood street, you can always reach out to us. Oftentimes, we don't really take any issue with it. We defer to the neighbors which direction they want traffic to go on their street. Changing the direction of the street does require legislation, but we're also able to do it on a trial basis for up to 8 months beforehand. And then, if there's no issues, those kind of remain in place and the legislation is done separately. So overall, that process, depending on your street, if we don't need to do anything but install one-way signs, that's something we can do on a few weeks' notice. Once we get the petition and we see everyone's agreed to, at least give it a try, then we can, put those signs in. So, I mean, if you want to come see me at the table and I can take down your info, we can look at it.
Excuse me. We have a situation where we have, cars coming and sitting in the middle, I live on a small street, very small street. And they're sitting in the middle of the street, just and going in their houses. How can I get the no idling and Amazon trucks are destroying they're not, no truck. Can I get a no truck sign? Because those trucks are massive. The street, if a fire EMT truck cannot come down our street, there's no way that these trucks should be coming down. And they are ripping the gas covers off, cracking the pavements, and they are tearing the street up every day. The massive UPS doesn't do it, but Amazon, they could park at the corner and they can roll the packages in, but they are deliberately not getting out those trucks.
Okay.
So how can I get signs? Because we really do need them, because a lot of folks can't afford to get new their payments over again.
I mean, we have a lot of very small neighborhood streets that have, an effective driving lane that's 8 feet or narrower. And in that case, like a truck literally can't fit on that street. So in that case, we can put up a sign that says no through trucks. So depending on your block, I'm happy to take a look at it. And if it's appropriate, we can put those signs up, we have the means to install new traffic signs as needed.
Few more questions here.
Good evening. I would like to thank you for finally repaving Cecil B. Moore Avenue. That is a blessing in disguise for once. However, when you do repave, what happens when developers come and just destroy what you have just done? Who is responsible for that?
Yeah, so I'm not too involved with this, so I might get the details wrong, but there is a paving moratorium where if a developer rips into a new street after it's been paved, I think within a year, they're not allowed to just patch the portion that they ripped up. They need to repave curb to curb and fix all of it. Obviously, there's a lot of different contractors doing lots of different work, so the quality of their repairs can vary. If you do see any that were not repaired with quality, then you can always report those. So
Report them to whom, to do.
you can give them to 311, or you can report them to someone like me at a meeting like this.
Hello, I have a couple questions, real quick one. How do you get a sign for, like, from Spring Garden to on 7th Street at Green Street? It's a school area with kids, and they stretch from Spring Garden to Fairmount without a stop sign.
and it's the kids, it's always darting out in the street. Can it get a stop sign to go there at Seventh and Green?
Something we look at on a case by case basis. I think off the top of my head, I can't picture that intersection right now, but I'm happy
It's
to
where
look
the
into it.
47 runs down. And
Okay.
also, since the neighborhood has really populated, cars are parking on the sidewalk. So that even makes it even harder for the kids to be able to cross the street properly.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Do you know what kind of school is it? Is it
Kearney,
preschool or is it an elementary school?
Kearney Elementary School,
Okay.
from K to 8.
Yeah, so K to 8 school, I mean, typical for a neighborhood, we post, no parking school days around those, if there's a parking.
Well, it's not near the school might be a block, but I'm just basically saying
So
from
it's
Spring
more on the way
Garden
to
to
the
Green.
school.
Yes, it's from 7 from Spring Garden to the Fairmount. It's like 2, 3 blocks and it's just goes straight through and they speed through.
Yeah,
So maybe they have a stop sign where there's a bus stop right there. So can they put a stop sign right there at the bus stop so that people can even cross the street when they're getting off the bus or whatever? And then my other quick question is, maybe it might go to your next line, but the getting on and off of the bus where you have the bus lane, where you have the bike lane at. It's very dangerous for us, like me as a senior, getting off and almost the bikes is running into us where the stop sign and the bus lane is running together.
mhm.
So it's hard sometimes, scary to step off of the bus and a bike is riding right past you.
Yeah, so the cyclists are supposed to yield to the buses. I mean, obviously that's not always happening, so there's, some, effort to be made for, making that more well-known to cyclists. Happy to see what, either SEPTA or, maybe our bicycle planners have thought on the issue.
We're gonna take 2 more questions from here. Yeah, you said, yeah.
Yeah, so I live on a street that has a lot of through traffic, a lot of speeding on six between Gerard and Poplar.
You said 6?
6, yeah. We put in a request through 311 about 2 years ago, requesting something to happen. Haven't heard back, reached out to the councilman's office earlier this year for help, still haven't heard back. So what's the process? How can we kind of like get answers to get a more safe, more kind of like better quality of life street?
So did you put the request through 311?
Initially, yes, and then we reached out to the councilman's office and still haven't heard anything.
Okay, so I mean, like, if you put it in 311, that'll often get lumped in as a traffic calming request, which is basically the means which the city is evaluating the many requests we get for speed cushions, because that's the most common request we get in terms of traffic calming. And, we just have such a massive volume of those that a lot of them are going to be denied. So right now, the city's focus with the speed cushions is installing them around schools, which we've been working on for the last few years. But we do maintain some capacity for responding to requests in neighborhood streets like this. And with those many requests that we get, we evaluate them based on traffic speeds. And if, those traffic speeds come in, within the normal range or, not above, a certain threshold, to match, what we're able to actually install, then we have to deny a lot of those requests that come in. That being said, speeding is not always the only safety issue you see. It's only the contributing factor, but there's, other things in our toolbox that we can do. So, I mean, in this case, it sounds like you obviously haven't been fortunate enough to get in touch with the right person, but, I'm, more than happy to come out and, take a look at it. Either you can, put in a request with me and we can connect by email, take a look at it and email thoughts, or we can come out and do a walkthrough together too, if that's helpful.
That'd be great, because we do have a school, we have a PPA lot, and we have a library on our block school lot that we went back and forth. There's so many crashes coming out of that PPA lot that there's always car parts
Okay.
from across the street.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something to just help make it a little bit safer in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, like, this is the kind of nuance that's not really captured when we're like reading these many requests that come in through 311, because they're kind of going through a system where they're all being kind of treated on the same way. So a lot of times we don't pick up on that nuance. So I think it is helpful to kind of, get in touch, else, either repeating until you can like speak to someone with it, or, come to a meeting like this too.
It'd be great to get a walkthrough. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. I think it's under the streets department. I was trying to find out about the programs that would deal with beautification of neighborhoods. And as I understand, there is a program you run that rewards neighborhoods that have done a good job in terms of beautifying their block. Is that accurate? And if you or the council, that's
believe that's the More Beautiful Committee.
Yes, that's the Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee, and we do have, that's under the sanitation department, and we do have someone from sanitation coming up next to speak to them.
Hope they could elaborate on that program, and maybe you could expand it.
Thank you. So one of our budget requests is going to be to increase the funding for the Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee. Right now, I think the budget allocation for those type of programs is like $53,000. My budget ask is going to be to increase that to $500,000 to allow more outgoing programs for the Black captains and the beautification of our blocks. And with that, I want to thank you so much for and I think that's a perfect segue to allow representatives from sanitation to come up to give a brief overview of sanitation, followed by a Q&A from the community.
Good evening. My name is Eric Merchant. I'm from sanitation. And this is my partner, Gerard Murray. He's also from sanitation. So I guess I'm just really here to answer some questions. I know there are a lot of questions for sanitation. So I'm ready.
Okay. All right, we're going to start over here first in the back, and someone who hasn't asked a question first. Yep, right here.
My issue is with an apartment building that's in a giant grocery store. And it's on Broad, Spring Garden, Brandywine, and 15th Street. 15th Street is the only street that has houses. They've got, and I've got tons of pictures. Nope, they put their trash out. It stinks. You see rats at night, and I've never had rats. I've been there 18 years. And then the apartment building gets built. And when we had a windy day one day last year, and the dumpster just threw down up and down 15th Street and created a car. And when I went to complain about it, the girl on the phone, and I could see that she could see 15th Street. And it took them almost 2 hours. I sat there and pushed them back onto the sidewalk. But the point is, they put that trash out in the morning and it stays there until the next morning. They rarely during the FIFA, they did not put it out. But the trash trucks that picks up the trash, they used to come like 4 o'clock in the morning, but then that stopped. And so now they come anywhere from 6, if they come at 6 o'clock in the morning. Usually it's 10 o'clock and maybe noon. But they put that trash out early in the day and all day long. That trash is sitting out there. I've got 4 high schools that walk past my house. And they walk on our side because you can't walk on the other side because of these dumpsters. And they're spunky, and I have to look at that every day. I pay taxes and book. I mean, it makes no sense why they can't go on Brandywine, because there's no houses there. So that's my issue. And I don't know what to do, and I've been complaining about it since they built that building.
Okay, so it sounds like that's a private business. Now, we're not responsible for the private businesses, but if you put in a complaint, again, you call 311, and I hate to bring, but 311 is the source of all complaints getting answered. And also that would sound like L&I would also have to visit that property also, because that's a private property that we in sanitation we don't collect from private companies.
I was wondering what I should do about that.
I hate to say it, but you would have to call 311.
Yeah, and I've got tons of pictures. And put it out and look at, it's horrible.
Okay.
It's looks.
First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for the work that you did. I'm sorry, you're not done. I don't know. Yeah, definitely got about representation. You guys, Paul and I, because we wouldn't have a city without you, so thank you. I have 2 questions. My first is, we were recently moved to twice a week trash pickup, and I was curious from your perspective, how you think that's going. And second, I was curious if the city has ever considered a dumpster per block strategy for trash pickup, because I think a lot of trash and recycling ends on the, hey, this is my question. I think a lot of trash and recycling does end up on the street because it is placed on the street and it gets knocked in the street or animals pick at it. And I've seen this affected in a lot of other cities. I was curious if this is something the city ever considered.
So for the first question, the second collection is coming along and it needs and will get better. So that is something that we're working on to make better. As far as the dumpster question, I think the city council is actually in talks about something like that. I'm not sure, but I believe they are. And that's something that would have to be agreed upon through all the neighbors.
Hi, my name is Fred Conway. I guess I'm in Northern Liberties West. I guess that's what they call it. I've called 311 so many times in the past and got to the point where I started taking pictures of how the garbage is collected. But first, let me just say, one, I know it's not an easy job. And I know you guys out there doing good work for a big city. But, you know, I've noticed that there's a lot of inconsistencies with picking up trash. You know, I've tried to talk to some of the guys that's picking up the trash, you know, and I get the attitude, you know, when I'm asking a question, hey, can you just dump the container into the truck to get it, you know, to empty the whole container? Because they just lift and whatever they can get, they just throw it, whatever. Also, if they drop something on the street, they don't pick it up. You know, we're supposed to have a scheduled time when they do the recycle, picking up the recycle, picking up the garbage. And that's been the most inconsistent thing that I've seen. And especially after this recent tax hike. You know, you guys, you know, sanitation got a nice raise, decent raise, I guess. But you know, I have an issue with paying additional taxes and not getting anything in return or getting something substandard. You know, I was in the military for 22 years, so it's hard for me to get with substandard work when you're supposed to be there working and I'm paying. So is there any way that we can get some consistency and get, you know, I know, like I said, it's a tough job, but can we get these guys to maybe, you know, kind of enjoy the job a little bit better since they got to be there? I mean, you know.
So first, I'd like to apologize for some of those behaviors. And our goal is to leave your block cleaner than when we arrive. And some of the people they do throw the bags. And something wrong. That is, our goal is to provide a service that, like you said, like you deserve. I'm the same. Like if I go home and trash is in front of my door, I'm going to feel like you feel.
Right.
So when you have those problems, again, I hate, but 311 is that is the way we communicate with all complaints in all departments throughout the city.
Right.
Is through 311. And sometimes they're not answered as fast as you want it answered, but in sanitation, our goal is to answer those complaints within the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always happen that way because we answer a lot of complaints. I mean, and we get some really strange complaints because someone may call 311 and say there's a brown bag on the corner. They want it picked up, and we have to respond to that. So where you may have 10 bags, there's one here, but that call came in first. So we have to respond to all of those. But again, our goal is to provide a service to every resident of leaving their block cleaner than when we arrive.
Okay. And what is the position on recycling? Because I went and got clear plastic bags and I put water bottles and broken down boxes in the plastic bag. So they take it with the trash as well, right?
So recycle should be in a container and not a bag. We're not supposed to take recycling in a bag.
In a
It's just-
plastic see-through bag.
Right, it should be in one of the blue containers. You can go buy a container from a bigger one if you need a bigger one, as long as it's not more than 32 gallons. And place your recyclables in those containers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our office does have guides on recycling, on when and where to place your recyclables. It does clearly say no plastic bags. So if you want to know the rules on recycling or other sanitation rules, we do have that information and we can provide that to you.
Right here.
Just talking. Oh God, I can hear my own voice. I'm going to talk quickly because I don't like the sound of my own voice. But first and foremost, hello. I just had more of a general question. How do you get one of those like city trash cans placed on a block somewhere and then make sure it's empty? I looked at the maps throughout the city. They're actually relatively difficult to find. Just a place where you can throw out trash. And, you know, I live right next to Ridge Avenue. That's supposed to be like a commercial corridor and all that. They're building it up. They're going to have more businesses, more people with more trash. And as of now, the only options anyone has is either to go inside some business or to leave it on your block. So how does one go about getting one of those? And then once they're there, how do you ensure that it's going to be emptied in a timely manner so it doesn't just end up strewn along the block as well?
Okay, so again, those bellies the baskets that you're talking about, those requests, I believe, come through city council, correct?
They can come through our office, or I know folks have made 311 requests as well. But you can reach out, let us know what corner you believe that the big belly should be on, and I send it right up to the commissioner's office, and they evaluate the situation.
And they should be empty daily. What happens is people are bringing household trash
That's the issue.
to those bellies, and that's not what they're for. They're actually for passerby. Like if someone came out of the business or someone was waiting at a bus stop and but we have residents bringing their household trash, and that's what makes them full to capacity before they should be. But we do attempt to empty those every day. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hi, thank you for being here. I have one statement. 21st Street between Market and the Parkway is a Tuesday pickup for recycle. It is not been picked up as of right now on Wednesday. The truck has missed for 2 days on 21st Street, the 100 and 200 blocks north. Now, my question is, how do the supervisors know that a route has been 100% completed that day? Or did the truck get full and have to go back to the yard and then they never finish the route? How do we know that the route is 75% done or 100% done? Is there anything that is reported back to the supervisors so they know that these streets were missed? I'll give you an example. On Monday, the 2100 block of Race Street was collected. The 2100 block of Cherry Street was collected. The 2100 block of Spring Street was missed. Those streets are all next to each other. How does 2/3 of everything get picked up and 1/3 get missed? How did the driver miss that?
So that in itself is human error. And the only way that a supervisor is guaranteed to know that a street is collected is by actually going visually checking those streets, which we have personnel who are supposed to check the streets and validate that they have been collected. Again, that's a personnel problem. That's something that it happens. I know firsthand about that the other night because I had to handle it, and it shouldn't happen. We do have people who are supposed to check these streets from within the hours that they work, and if they're not collected, they should report it to us, and we would know. Sometimes it is reported, and as a resident, you don't know that it's reported because sometimes we may not be able to get it, because as right now, we're a day behind on recycling just through the personnel. So your street may not be collected on your recycling. It's not that it was purposely, we just didn't have the personnel to collect it on the day that it was supposed to be collected.
Take that one. Let's forget the second pickup of trash and let's get all the recyclables back on schedule. We don't need our Thursday second pickup. Let's get recycle done. It's been missed all week.
Why are we getting some trash collection when we get zero recycling? Let's get recycling back on schedule and forget the second trash pickup.
No.
You know,
We want the second pickup.
So as you can hear, some residents want second collection, want twice a week pickup. I understand what you're saying. You're saying, let's do it. So if we do that, every resident will have to know that we're not going to pick up second collection. And I can tell you, that's not going to happen. We're going to continue with it. That is the plan.
Yeah,
But if we were to stop, then those who did put it out,
yeah.
and I'm not, I think most people would agree, they would prefer us to pick up the trash before the recycling.
Yes.
So that's the issue.
Back here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fairmont resident, Uber Street. First of all, I want to say, Councilman, thank you for doing this. It's very important, so I appreciate it. Also to your staff, I have communicated with the staff quite a few times. They're great people. I hope that I can get a face-to-face with all of them today. But my name is Jimmy Rayford. I am the executive director of Payne's Park, also known as Payne's Skate Park. I just wanted to apologize ahead of time because I know other people have sanitation questions, but before everyone leaves, I want people to know that our parks are very, very important. And I'm begging you all to be sure to support us as much as possible. Now, Payne Skate Park has been there for 13 years, and one specific thing I wanted to bring up to everyone is for 13 years, our kids or now adults, I'm a older skater, I still skate every day of my life, just about. But understand that we urinate and defecate in bushes in the park. And it's one of the most important parks and one of the most expensive parks that us as skateboarders have raised $4.5 million to build. So I'm just taking this moment to make sure that you guys know, and I'm asking for support as much as possible. If you hear anything about us trying to raise money, I would really appreciate you guys understanding the importance of children going into the bushes, during the daytime or nighttime, our children, and having to take their pants down and urinate and defecate in the bushes. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Over here. How you doing? My name is Sarah Davis, a community advocate and resource. I want to take a different approach for my question. Usually, when a job isn't done to its full capability, it's because the workers may not have all of the support that they need. They might be overworked. They might not have all the proper gear that they need. They might not have stocks to go to, proper breaks, proper gear. Not getting paid their full paycheck, things like that. What do you say about more worker support so they can be able to do their job better? Meaning, some people on sanitation, they don't get their full paychecks. It's hard for them to afford food, housing, to live day to day. And what can you do about that?
So as far as anyone's paycheck, I can't speak on why someone wouldn't get their full paycheck. As far as uniforms, we actually provide uniforms. We provide the whole uniform, boots and everything. So if someone doesn't have their uniform, I'm not sure why they don't have it, but we actually provide that for all of our employees. I mean, we provide safety glasses, earplugs, boots, gloves, the clothing to wear. I'm not sure why someone wouldn't have their uniform.
And what about work things to support them in different working conditions, like they're in extreme heat, pouring rain? Like, what type of supports do you have for your work?
So unfortunately, our job, when we accepted it, we knew that we were working extreme heat, extreme cold, and all this. Now, I hear what you're saying, but someone else may say, well, I want my trash collected. I don't care how hot it is. And that is our job. Our job is to work in all weather conditions. That is what we.
Well, how can your department and the employees get more support as far as, what type of, do you know the supports that your employees need to be able to do?
Well, if there's anybody here that can tell me how we can get more support in that situation, I would love to hear it myself.
Hi, over here. Thank you for your daily pickups.
I am piggybacking off of the gentleman that didn't like his voice. However, we, on Cecil B. Moore and the whole corridor, you guys come daily, every day. I see you guys, I just don't get up to do anything. However, the problem that is had when we want these public trash cans, the people, as he shared, are putting household trash out and about. Just really on the corner of 20th and Cecil B. Moore, it really built up because now we have a store on that corner that does not have a dumpster. And therefore, the minute the commercial crew, I guess, I'm not sure what crew it's called, that's not the regular trash pickup, but that's your daily folks. I don't know, y'all have different names for them. However, they see that it is the store's trash. And as another young lady said, there's rats, there's everything coming out of there. And it's been since the store's been there and possibly the last three months that the store has been there. Otherwise, you guys are doing a great job on that corridor of Cecil B. Moore. Thank you.
So in those situations, just so that you know, also, if you notice that a store is putting trash on the corner, we do have a department that will come out and ticket. Sometimes we may pick it up before they get ticketed, but we do have a department. If someone calls and say, well, this store put all the trash in the corner, we come out, we look through that trash, find an address and a name, and we find those people. So, and then we do collect it also. But if our crews see it, they should pick it up. Sometimes that person may not get fined because we collected it already. Again, anything on the corners, if we do have different crews that go out and service those buildings. If they see that, they should collect it.
Right. Friday.
Well, we actually have somebody that comes on Saturday and Sunday. So if it's a problem and it's noted to us and we get the notice that it's there, we try to address it.
So we have time for one more question, and we do want to leave some time to address the questions at the table before we have to depart from the facility.
Sorry, I was given a mic. Am I supposed to be?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you have the mic, please.
I have two super quick questions. You all, I believe actually I talked to you, at MLK Park in Francisville, you guys dropped off, trash cans.
Yes.
They are not being, like, you guys like kind of left trash cans there and then nobody's managing them and they're kind of just being left. I'm wondering what the game plan is for that. And then for Councilman Young, the person who, talked about Ridge Avenue, needing the big belly trash cans. When you came to our last Civic Association meeting, the UFCA meeting, we asked you about those cans and you talked about it in quite detail and like we had thought that request had kind of gone through. Yes. But then you were just telling him to like make that request. So do we need to continue making those requests or is that already in process?
I'll tell you that my office put that request into the sanitation department. We'll follow up to see where they are in that process. But right after that meeting, we sent that stuff over to the streets, the sanitation department. Stuff where that was between, let's say, Straw and Broad Street and Gerard. We'll do one more question in the back here, and then we'll have to move on to our last presenter.
Hi, yes, thank you for the meeting. And I just want to say that I think we're talking about accountability. And I think somebody mentioned that they have a problem with multifamily dwellings. There's a combination of problems, and I think we are guilty of it. You know, we're trying to blame somebody that is really not guilty of the problem. They're actually doing their job. And I think one of the things that I had to say is sanitation that has been very responsive when my daughter called a couple times because they missed a couple bags on the street, they actually came back and picked them up. It's literally impossible for them to pick up something that falls out of the trash can. But I don't know if you guys have noticed on how people dispose of their trash. You know, somebody was saying to you, and how can we help? But the sad thing is that almost nobody does their job properly. I don't know if any trash day, just walk your block and you will see how many people put out, unbroken boxes,
heavy items. And I think we're asking these people to do more work when we can help. I think we should start finding the multi-family dwellings because they are a problem. You know, they put the trash out on days that they're not supposed to. Trash is flying all over the place. And I think this is an opportunity that we missed when Francisville was getting developed. We stated this concern about this issue, and it was just blown away. Now it's coming back and biting us in the butt in many, many ways. I think somebody was saying that they're losing money. I think we're losing our sanity and just some easy steps that we can take, but I think we have to help ourselves. We cannot expect that these people are going to be doing it for ourselves.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Again, what he's speaking about is some days people, when some people put their trash out, they may put it out any kind of way. They don't, it's not bagged properly. And there's a proper way to put trash out, which is not always done. But again, when we get there, it is our job to collect it. And when it's not collected, if we come to someone's house and there's trash strewn all over the pavement, we don't generally clean that up, but we're expected to clean it up. So again, there's a proper way to put the trash out, as he said. And thank you.
All right, now with that, we're gonna have to move on. We have a couple more presentations, but sanitation will be here to answer any questions that you have. So I want us to give them a round of applause and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Really quickly, I would like